I had a question about types of rot. So I've started to have a little look into this wall here to determine how little I can get away with repairing. So the loose fibres there, they're the first stage of wet rot. Where wet rot is happening, that is like an invitation for the small beetles. I'm not exactly sure of the different names of them. It might be, well, there are other people maybe can comment and know better about that. So once the material has been softened by wet rot, several different kinds of insect like to eat that kind of or nest in it, that kind of material. So in there you can see the shrinking of the fibres. That's also a sign of wet rot. And then secondary damage has been done by kind of beetle. Depending on where you are in the country, there are different kinds of beetles. Also the size of the little holes tells you exactly which one it is. So that looks like hoosebook woodworm to me. But like I say, I'm not an expert on that. There is a company in Norway that does that. They're called Mycotin. This is a product. I think it was started using it in the. I think it's as old as the 1930s. I think this house may be very well built in the 1930s. It's a kind of concrete covered wood chippings. They function quite well actually. It's quite good insulation. It's sturdy. It's not a product you can get anymore though. But if you've got it in your old building, don't ignore it. You know, don't just assume that it's no good. It would work. This cavity, for example, if you wanted to insulate this, would work very easily insulated with cellulose fibre insulation. That way you'd get the use of what's already there and fill up the cavity. So this damage is caused by a hole in the roof, letting in the water, and then several years, or maybe many years, or maybe decades of being eaten up by little insects. Okay, that's a supporting vertical beam, and that hasn't got any damage at all. This is the top plate. The damage, I pulled out some nails just here and they sat really hard. The damage stops, so I'm going to put a diagonal, is it called a scarf joint? I have to check that, not sure the English names of it. A diagonal joint here and for replacing this, and I've opened up the boards on the other side, and there's another vertical post which has no damage, and the top plate on top of it has no damage at that point, so I'll do the same thing there. So it'll be two scarf joints for the piece that replaces that bit that's missing, and then I'll use new roof joists, and then there's another standing post that's going to go there next to the window. That'll support, so there's the old one, very damaged. And then the bottom plate down there, it has some water damage on the surface there, but to be honest, it's not enough to warrant doing anything with that at all actually. It's a little bit of damage, but it stops where the fibres start to tighten up and they're no longer loose like that. And its function is binding, not supporting, so I'm happy with that being strong enough. And now that this water damage part here is going to be taken away, the damage will stop. These boards that are used here, they also have some damage in them, but they're just there to support the fiberboards on the inside, and the fiberboards are self-supporting really, so I'm going to leave those like that as well. That one as well, got quite a lot of damage in it, but I'm not going to change it anyway because I don't want to damage the boards on the inside of the building there. I think they have a cement render on the inside of them, so it's kind of self-supporting. So I'm not going to do that today. I'm not going to do this today. It's the same thing here actually. This piece here, although it's quite heavily damaged, it has a binding function just for the window. It doesn't actually support anything. It doesn't take any weight. So I'm not going to change it either. There's enough fibres on the outside edge there that are not damaged. You know, it's the equivalent of it being a 2-2 or something, which is enough to do that job. So although this looks really bad, in fact, it's quite easy to repair. I'm sorry if I've repeated myself. You know that obviously there are several days since I last looked at this because I wanted to finish the other work. Difficult decision because this, you know, the rot stops, but unfortunately it stops a bit too far over really. So I could put a block under here. Well, the thing is, it's not going to get worse. It's going to get better than it is now. It's not going to carry on rotting because the water stops. The best thing of all really would be to slide the new piece under the old piece, but that's really quite a difficult way of doing it. I don't know quite how to do that. It's a joint, you know. Well, I can do that. Yeah, I'll do that. I'll slide the new piece in under the old piece. I'll make a diagonal cut. I'll do a plunge cut with the chainsaw. Let's have a look and see what it looks like at the other end. choose which tool I want to ruin. I've been very lucky so far not to hit anything. So I think I'm going to go over to a chisel for this last bit. So the good thing is here is I can get into this one and got that new piece there. The rot stops at once. It's all nice and fresh. It's a bit wet, it's frozen. It's still wet where there was a hole in the roof. It's not too bad. There's a little bit of rot on the very inside edge there. What I've done here is put a strap on to pull it down a bit. And then because it's wedge shaped, it pushes into the joint. So that joint is tightened right up. So I need to pull these two together before I fix them. That. I'll just show you the joint, nice and tight on both surfaces, which is how I want it, because that means it's carrying the rest of that one, and that was also nice and tight. So I'm not going to bother checking if it's level, because well, maybe I should check this level. It didn't seem to be enough of a difference. So it's very like how it was originally. That's the problem.